12 Rules to Accelerate Your Life Progress. Stoic Wisdom. Have you ever stopped to think about the power a clear goal can have in your life? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine, what would it be like to wake up every day with the certainty that you know exactly where you're headed? That's the power of choosing a single goal, and more than that, believing in it with all your might. Think about it. How many times have you felt lost, like a ship adrift, without a clear destination? But here's the truth. It's not because you're incapable. It's because you haven't defined the harbor you want to navigate toward. When you choose a clear goal, everything changes. The waves that once seemed like obstacles now become allies, pushing you in the right direction. And you know what's even more incredible? It's not just about wishing. It's about truly believing with all your conviction. Don't just see that goal as something you want to achieve, but as something that already belongs to you. Feel it in your heart, as if you're living that reality right now. Because when you believe, something powerful happens. You start aligning your thoughts, your actions, and even the opportunities around you to make it possible. Of course, it's not always easy. There are distractions, fears, and insecurities that try to pull us away. But remember, speed doesn't come from strength, but from focus. The more you consistently dedicate yourself, even with small steps, the farther you'll go. It's like planting a seed and nurturing it every day. It might take time, but when you least expect it, it blossoms. So I ask you, what's the goal that makes your heart beat faster? What's that dream you know deep down deserves to be realized? Write it down, keep it in a visible place. Look at it every day and make it impossible to forget. Because you are capable. More than that, you are the only person who can turn that dream into reality. Starting today, choose to believe in yourself. It doesn't matter if the world around you doubts. Convincing the world? No, you just need to convince yourself. The rest is a consequence of those who decide to focus, believe, and keep moving forward. Now I challenge you, take the first step. What will be your first action to bring you closer to that goal? Share, inspire, and above all, start. Because every step taken with purpose is a leap toward the life you deserve. Now that you've chosen a goal to guide your journey and understood the transformative power of believing in it, here comes an important question. How do you ensure you're on the right path? Having focus and determination is essential, but do you know what can accelerate your progress even more? Having a map, or better yet, someone who has already walked that path. This is where the next step of this journey comes in. 2. Find a source of truth. Imagine you're on an unknown road, without signs, without GPS, not quite sure which direction to take. Now, imagine someone appears with a detailed map saying, "I've been exactly where you are. Let me show you the way." What difference would that make? That's the magic of finding a source of truth. We all have dreams, but moving forward without a guide can be like trying to reinvent the wheel. Why waste energy groping in the dark when there are people who have already achieved what you're seeking? They not only know the shortcuts, but also the dangers you can avoid. Mentors, role models, and reliable references are like beacons. They illuminate the path, showing that yes, what you desire is possible. Think of someone you admire, someone who has achieved a goal similar to yours. How did that person get there? What did they do differently? Observing their strategies, learning from their mistakes and successes is a powerful way to grow. As Napoleon Hill said, a goal is a dream with a deadline. And that deadline becomes more realistic when you follow tried and tested steps. But here's the secret. It's not just about imitation. It's about adaptation. Use others' lessons as inspiration, but don't forget to adjust them to your reality. Because in the end, success isn't about copying a manual, it's about creating your own, based on solid teachings and the commitment to persevere. And remember, finding a source of truth also requires patience. Sometimes the fruits take time to appear, but that doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Think of a farmer planting a tree. He doesn't give up just because the fruit didn't show up on the first day. He trusts the process. Just like in life, the best results come to those who maintain consistency. Now, look around you. Who are the people that can inspire you? Who has already reached where you want to be? And more importantly, what lessons can they teach you? Seek out those answers, absorb the learning, and apply it with discipline. Because with good guidance, what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. And speaking of achieving, how about discovering the next step to multiply your results? Let's go. With a clear goal in mind and the guidance of those who already know the way, you're more prepared than ever to move forward. But here comes an important question. What if you could accelerate your progress even more? If you could turn every step into a leap? The answer lies in the power of intensifying your efforts. Let's talk about that. 3. Double your effort and achieve exponential results. Imagine you're building something grand. It could be your career, a business, or even a new skill. Every effort you put in is like planting a seed. Now think, what if instead of planting 1 seed a day, you planted 2 or 3? The field would bloom much faster, right? That's the logic of doubling your effort. But beware, we're not just talking about working more. We're talking about working smarter. Doubling your effort means increasing the intensity of your dedication in a strategic way, eliminating distractions and focusing on what truly makes a difference. It's like tuning a car's engine to go faster, but with the same fuel. Brian Tracy has a phrase that perfectly sums this up. Success is predictable. And you know why? Because it follows universal laws. One of them is the law of sowing and reaping. What you plant, you reap. And the more you plant, the greater your harvest. Now see what happens when you apply this idea to your daily life. When you study a little more, practice with more focus, or dedicate more energy to what truly matters, your results don't just double, they multiply. Because with each extra effort, you learn more, grow more, and reduce waste on what doesn't contribute to your progress. And you know what's even more interesting? This cycle creates a cumulative advantage. Accelerated learning makes things that once seemed difficult become more natural, and what used to take hours now takes minutes. That's the power of exponential progress. So ask yourself, what can you do today to increase your dedication a bit more? Maybe it's investing more time in what matters. Maybe it's saying no to distractions that drain your energy. Every extra step you take now will become fuel for much greater growth in the future. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Even small daily efforts can take you very far when done consistently. Because, in the end, the math of effort is simple. The more you dedicate yourself, the more you achieve. Ready to intensify? Then let's move forward and understand how to maintain balance, knowing exactly where you are and where you want to go. 4. Understand your current position. Imagine you're about to embark on a journey. You already have the destination in mind. But without knowing where you are now, how can you choose the best route? It's the same in life. Before moving forward, it's crucial to ask yourself, where am I at this moment? What are the obstacles I need to overcome? What's holding me back from advancing? Reflecting on your current position isn't an exercise in self-criticism or discouragement. On the contrary, it's a gesture of courage and honesty. It's a commitment to yourself to understand what needs to be left behind and what should be strengthened to move forward. Perhaps you're facing fears, doubts, or even habits that keep you stuck. Acknowledging them is the first step to overcoming them. At the same time, visualize where you want to go. Close your eyes and imagine the life you desire, the place you want to occupy, the achievements you dream of accomplishing. Seeing this future clearly creates a sense of purpose that guides your daily actions. But beware, initial progress can be deceptive. When we start seeing results, it's common to relax. It's like following a diet, and upon losing the first few pounds, giving yourself the freedom to eat just a little of what you shouldn't. This kind of deviation can steer you away from your goal. That's why it's important to stay focused. As Gary Keller said, success means focus. And when things seem tough, remember that giving up comes at a high cost. Think of riding a bike uphill. Stopping might seem tempting, but starting again is even more exhausting. Instead, find ways to self-motivate. Ask yourself, what impact will achieving this goal have on my life and on the lives of the people I love? Plato once said, "The best thing we can do for those we love is to become better humans." When you persist, you're not just changing your own life. You're positively influencing everyone around you. You become an example of strength, resilience, someone who doesn't give up when things get tough. Now it's your turn. Look at where you are, define what you need to overcome, and visualize the future you want to build. Remember, each day is an opportunity to take a step in the right direction. And what's next? Let's discover how to start the next day on the right foot. 5. Planning the day before. Have you ever had one of those days where you wake up full of energy, but by the end of it, you feel like you didn't accomplish nearly what you should have? This happens because, without planning, each moment of the day seems to be decided on the fly, and priorities end up being sidelined. The good news, there's a simple way to avoid this. Start the next day the night before. Think of planning as preparing a field for planting. When you organize your ideas before bed, you're preparing the soil for a productive day aligned with your goals. What seemed challenging in the morning becomes clear and straightforward because you already know where to start. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, says something powerful. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that's exactly it. Planning the day before isn't just about listing tasks. It's about creating a system that propels you to do what truly matters. But how do you start? It's simple. Before going to sleep, set aside 10 minutes to reflect on what you need to do the next day. Ask yourself, what is the most important task? What, if completed, will have the greatest impact on my goals? Prioritize that task first thing in the morning. Brian Tracy calls this eating the frog, meaning tackling the most challenging task first, because once the hardest part is done, everything that follows seems lighter. Additionally, try breaking your day into time blocks dedicated to different activities. This technique helps you avoid distractions and make the most of each moment. And remember, planning isn't about being rigid. It's about being intentional. Adjust as needed, but keep your focus on priorities. And there's more. Planning not only increases productivity, but also reduces stress. The clarity of knowing what's next eliminates the anxiety of making rushed decisions. This creates space for something we often neglect: emotional balance. You start the day confident, knowing you're in control. So how about starting today? Before bed, grab a piece of paper or your notes app and write down the 3 main tasks for tomorrow. Visualize how your morning will go and the feeling of having already tackled the most important task by midday. When you do this, you're not just planning the day, you're creating a more organized and efficient future. And speaking of the future, how about we explore how to eliminate comparisons and focus on the only person that matters in this journey? Yourself. Let's go. 6. Avoid comparing yourself to others. Have you ever felt like you're running on a treadmill, giving it your all but not getting anywhere? That's the effect of living by comparing yourself to others. No matter how hard you try, it seems like someone is always ahead. But you know what no one tells you? Comparison is like a race without a finish line. No matter how much you do, it will never seem enough. As Theodore Roosevelt wisely said, comparison is the thief of joy. And he was right. Every time you measure your progress using someone else's yardstick, you lose sight of everything you've already accomplished. Because in reality, you never know the full story behind someone else's success. What looks like an easy win might hide years of struggle that you don't see. So what should you do? Change your focus. Instead of looking sideways, look inward. Ask yourself, who was I yesterday? What did I do to improve? Compare yourself only to yourself. Every small victory counts, and every step in the right direction is an achievement. And here's a powerful truth. Personal progress isn't a sprint. It's a marathon of consistency. It doesn't matter if someone started earlier or seems to be further ahead. Your only responsibility is to overcome your own limitations and move forward at your own pace. Remember, success isn't measured by your position relative to others, but by how close you are to becoming the best version of yourself. And you know what's even more incredible? When you stop comparing yourself, you gain something invaluable: energy. The energy that was once spent trying to prove something to the world can now be invested in growing, learning, and building the life you truly desire. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I do today to be a little better than yesterday? Focus on that answer, celebrate your small victories, and keep your eyes on what truly matters: your own journey. Because in the end, the only competition that really matters is with yourself. Let's move forward and explore the next essential step: turning thought into action. After all, it's by acting that dreams become reality. 7. Embrace action with urgency. How many times have you waited for the perfect moment to start something important? Maybe you thought, I'm not ready yet, or I'll begin when conditions improve. But here's a harsh and liberating truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. If you wait for it, time keeps passing, and with it, opportunities. Action is what separates desire from achievement. It's the engine that turns dreams into reality. And when you act with urgency, something magical happens. You learn faster, grow quicker, and approach your goals exponentially. Think of a fire. When it breaks out, there's no time for debates or procrastination. You need to act, and fast. It's exactly this energy that you need to bring to your goals. Of course, planning is important, but be careful not to fall into the trap of spending more time planning than doing. Action, even if imperfect, is always more powerful than perfect inertia. Because it's through doing that you discover what works, adjust what doesn't, and build confidence in yourself. And here's the best part. Every action creates momentum. One small step leads to another, and soon you're in constant motion. It's like pushing a stalled car. You need effort at first, but once it starts moving, everything becomes easier. The same happens with your life. When you act, you create a positive cycle of progress and motivation. What if you're afraid to make mistakes? That's okay. Failure is part of the learning process. Great leaders and entrepreneurs failed countless times before achieving success. What set them apart was their sense of urgency in learning from their mistakes and continuing to move forward. So, what can you do now? Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. What's the smallest action you can take to get closer to your goal? It doesn't need to be big. It needs to be now. Because the best plan in the world is worthless without execution. Remember, action creates movement, and movement creates change. Time is passing, and every second is a chance to turn what's in your mind into something real. Are you ready to act? Then let's take the next step together toward consistency and overcoming. 8. Persistence. Don't give up too soon. Imagine you're digging for gold. With each shovel swing, anxiety builds. Am I close? Will it be worth it? After a while, fatigue and doubt start to speak louder. Then you give up. But what if I told you the gold was just another meter away? This isn't just a metaphor, it's the real story of many who stopped just a few steps away from transforming their dreams into reality. Life works this way. In the beginning, we're full of energy and motivation, but when results don't appear immediately, the temptation to quit becomes very strong. It's at this moment that we need to remember that success is rarely a stroke of luck. It's the result of consistency, effort, and, most importantly, persistence. The secret lies in trusting the process, even when everything seems stagnant. Like a plant you water daily, growth happens beneath the soil before the leaves appear. And often, the most significant progress is invisible at first. Persisting means believing that today's effort is preparing the ground for tomorrow's achievements. Think of Thomas Edison, who made thousands of attempts before creating the electric light bulb. When asked about his failures, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Persistence is exactly that, seeing each attempt as a necessary step toward your goal. But how do you maintain the strength to keep going? The trick is to focus on the purpose. Constantly remind yourself why you started. Visualize the life you desire and the people who will be impacted by your success. Use this as fuel to overcome tough moments. And when you think about giving up, take a pause, reflect. Maybe you just need to adjust your approach, but don't abandon the goal. Giving up too soon is a dangerous habit because each time you practice it, it becomes harder to trust in your own potential. Now look at where you are and ask, what can I do to take one more step? It might be small, it might be slow, but keep moving forward. Remember, what separates those who reach their goals from those who stop along the way isn't talent, but the ability to keep going, even when it's tough. You've already started. Don't stop now. Let's work together to understand how to eliminate noise and focus on what truly matters, so each step becomes even more certain. Persistence keeps us on the path. But what happens when that path is full of distractions? The truth is, to move forward consistently, we need to reduce the noise around us. Let's explore how focus can be the differentiator between staying stuck and achieving what truly matters. 9. Reduce noise and distractions. Have you ever noticed how distractions can drain your energy without you even realizing it? I'll just take a quick look at my feed turns into minutes or hours lost, while your goals quietly wait for your attention. Don't be fooled. The biggest enemy of progress isn't a lack of time, but wasting it on things that get you nowhere. Social media, incessant notifications, random videos, all of this is designed to capture your attention. But here's the secret. The attention you give to these distractions is the same attention you should be using to build your dreams. The problem isn't that the world is full of noise. It's that you allow them to control your life. So, how do you turn the game around? Start by identifying what truly matters, which activities really bring you closer to your goals. These are the ones that deserve your energy. The rest, it's noise. It's there to distract, not to build. Think about it. What would you do if you had an extra 2 hours in your day? And what if I told you those hours already exist, hidden between small, wasted moments? Here's a practical tip. Turn off non-essential notifications. Try going a day or even a week without social media. Use that time to reflect, plan, or simply focus on what's important. At first, it might seem difficult, but quickly, you'll notice how your mind becomes clearer, more focused, more present. And there's more. Reducing noise isn't just about eliminating external distractions, but also internal ones. How often has your mind wandered while you were working on something important? Meditation, mindfulness practices, or even taking deep breathing breaks can help bring you back to the present moment. When you reduce distractions, you discover something valuable: space. Space to think, create, learn, and act. Your productivity increases, as does your quality of life. Because progress isn't just about doing more, but about doing what matters with intention. So I challenge you, what can you do today to cut the excess and focus on the essential? Take the first step. Clear your mind, concentrate, and see how everything starts to flow more naturally. Now that noise is under control, let's talk about what's really at stake: time. Because it's limited, and knowing how to use it well is the next crucial step in your journey. And 10, valuing the present moment. Have you ever stopped to think about how many days you've left for tomorrow? It might be something small, like starting a book, or something big, like changing careers. Time seems infinite, but the truth is, it isn't. Every day that passes is a chance that doesn't come back. So I ask you, what are you waiting for? Procrastinating is like watching sand slip through an hourglass. It seems little each second, but look again. The pile of lost time is getting bigger and bigger. And what do you gain in return? A false sense that the future will solve everything. Spoiler, it won't. The only moment you have is now. Earl Nightingale said something profound. We become what we think about most of the time. If you live thinking about later, you're perpetually stuck in a future that never arrives. The result? A cycle of inertia and frustration. But you can break that cycle today. The solution? Treat time as the most valuable resource it is. Each day is a blank page, ready to be filled. Plan, yes, but don't waste too much time on it. Do, act. Start small, but start. Don't wait for the ideal moment, because the ideal is now. And you know what's even more incredible? When you start valuing time, it seems to expand. Those previously wasted moments turn into opportunities to learn something new, to work on a personal project, to spend quality time with the people you love. The present is the only time you can truly live. So, here's a challenge. Choose one thing you've been putting off and do it today. It doesn't matter how small. Maybe it's making a phone call, organizing a drawer, or finally taking the first step toward that big dream. But do it. Because every action you take in the present is a direct investment in the future you want to build. Now, look at the clock. Every second that passes is an invitation to create something new. Don't leave for tomorrow what you can transform now. And speaking of transformation, how about we explore why abandoning expectations of immediate results is the secret to achieving lasting changes? Let's go together. 11. Abandon instant gratification expectations. Have you ever started something with great enthusiasm only to get discouraged because the results didn't appear as quickly as you expected? This is more common than you might think. We live in a world where everything seems instant: messages, shopping, even success. But the truth is that the most significant achievements require time and dedication. Imagine you plant a tree. In the first few days, all you see is soil. It seems like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing, creating a solid foundation to support the future. Life is like that. Even when results aren't visible, progress is happening. It's in the invisible that transformation begins. Consistency in small daily actions is what builds real change. It's not about grand gestures, but about a continuous commitment to what you want to achieve. Think of someone who goes to the gym. Transformation doesn't happen in the first week. It's the accumulation of each workout, each healthy choice, that creates a lasting impact. Moreover, trusting the process doesn't mean waiting passively. It means taking action every day with patience, knowing that progress is inevitable when you stay steadfast. As Jim Rohn said, success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract by the person you become. But abandoning expectations of instant results isn't easy. It requires focus and a shift in mindset. Instead of seeking immediate gratification, find joy in the process itself. Every step taken, no matter how small, is a victory. Every day of effort is a brick in building the future you desire. So ask yourself, what are the small actions I can take today that will, over time, make a big difference? Don't underestimate the power of something simple. When you commit to continuing, even without seeing immediate results, you're creating a solid foundation for success. Trusting the process and valuing small actions give us the patience to keep going, but the journey doesn't always go as planned. It's in these moments that something essential arises: adaptability. Because true strength doesn't lie in resisting changes, but in learning to ride the waves of life. Let's understand how this works. 12. Adaptability. Riding life's waves. Imagine the ocean. Waves come and go, some calm, others intense. You can try to fight against them, but the water will always be stronger. Or instead, you can learn to surf. Life works the same way. The secret isn't trying to control the uncontrollable, but adjusting to circumstances and using them to your advantage. We all face challenges, unexpected changes, setbacks, moments of uncertainty. The instinctive reaction is often to resist, as if we could stop things from happening, but resisting consumes energy and leaves us paralyzed. Adaptability, on the other hand, teaches us to flow with changes and grow from them. John C. Maxwell said, "Change is inevitable, but growth is optional." What he means is that how we react to changes determines our progress. Think of a tree in a storm. It bends with the wind but doesn't break. Why? Because it's willing to adjust, preserving its strength to keep growing. Adopting this mindset requires practice. First, accept that changes are part of life. They can be uncomfortable, but they also bring opportunities for learning. Then ask yourself, how can I use this situation to my advantage? Sometimes, the biggest challenges hide powerful lessons that prepare us for something greater. Being adaptable doesn't mean abandoning your goals, but rather adjusting the path to achieve them. It's like a navigator who changes the route during a storm, but never loses sight of the destination. You can do the same. Instead of insisting on what can't be controlled, focus on what is within your reach. Adjust your sails and keep moving forward. And remember, every time you adapt, you become stronger. Every challenge faced with flexibility is an opportunity to grow, learn, and reinvent yourself. Don't see the waves as obstacles, but as pushes that propel you forward. Now I challenge you. What wave do you need to ride today? Identify it, adjust your actions, and allow yourself to grow with it. Because true greatness isn't in avoiding storms, but in learning to navigate through them. With that, you're ready to take control of what you can, delegate what doesn't need to be in your hands, and build an even more balanced journey. Let's explore together how this can transform your life.